Did you know that O.J. Simpson almost killed the soap opera? Hello, I'm Dr. Miller, your TikTok TV historian, and today is the anniversary of the opening statements in the trial of the century, probably the most famous trial of all time. This is a 6-minute TikTok, so if you have a chore to do it now while I tell you this fascinating history, or favorite it to come back and watch it when you do. But if you aren't familiar with the story, O.J. was well known as a professional football star and as an actor. But in June of 1994, his wife Nicole Brown and her friend Ron Goldman were found stabbed to death outside of her condo in Brentwood in Los Angeles. O.J. was immediately a person of interest because of an earlier domestic violence charge, and after police gathered evidence, a warrant was issued for his arrest. O.J. and his lawyers agreed to a time he would turn himself in for arrest, but then he didn't. He disappeared, and people worried he had taken his life. Thousands of people showed up, and helicopters took to the air to find him. Instead, he climbed into the back seat of his white 1993 Ford Bronco, driven by his teammate and longtime friend.
This is AC. I have OJ in the car.
Okay, where are you?
Please, I'm coming up the 5 freeway.
Okay.
Right now, we are okay, but you gotta tell the police to just back off. He's still alive, but he got a gun to his head. He just want to see his mother. Let me get him to the house.
The slowest police chase lasted 60 miles, and one person described the pursuit as the most famous ride in American shores since Paul Revere's. Opening arguments for O.J.'s trial began January 24th, 1995, and it lasted a long time. It was so well watched, it minted new celebrity lawyers out of figures like Johnny Cochran, Robert Kardashian, yep, that Kardashian, along with prosecutors Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden. And the trial dominated daytime television. It wreaked havoc on daytime schedules by constantly preempting daytime soaps and other daytime programming like talk shows, with network coverage of the trial, which was itself kind of a soap opera, and with some pretty unusual characters. Even the judge was a little odd with all of his little hourglasses. Meanwhile, media were reporting on the decline in soap operas with grim headlines like "The Old and the Desperate" instead of "The Young and the Restless," and reporting that coverage of the trial was getting better ratings than soaps themselves. To combat this decline, some soaps started to do some pretty wacky things. Days of Our Lives was a typical soap opera about the relationships and conflicts of people in a fictional town. Not at all supernatural in nature. But in the lead up to and during the trial, the star of the show became possessed by the devil. In her book, Her Stories, Daytime Soap Opera and U.S. Television History, author Elena Levine writes that Marlena's possession kept viewers engaged, but that engagement wasn't always favorable, as viewers were struggling to reconcile her possession with the show that they thought that they knew. Marlena became possessed when the evil Stefano puts her under a spell that makes her susceptible to the whims of the devil himself. Levine argues that while the story's campy excesses were fun to watch, the narrative extremity of Marlena's possession was rooted in especially conservative values.
Now no one will guess our little secret. So, we bought ourselves some time to complete my work in Salem.
As the devil would soon announce, the goal was to, quote, discredit the church and destroy people's faith, to dismantle the moral authority of religious belief. She writes that such a menace seemed to have more in common with fears promoted by 1980s televangelists, their neoconservative values continuing to push against the purported immorality of the Clintons and the mid-90s. O.J.'s acquittal was watched by an estimated 100 million people, including live on The Oprah Winfrey Show.
Matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony, upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information.
We, along with the rest of the country, saw this verdict as you saw it, and the jury has spoken.
He was later found liable of their deaths in civil court. OJ later wrote a book called If I Did It, a hypothetical description of the murders. That book was pulled and destroyed. Goldman's family got the rights to the book and published it again, this time practically hiding the word if. So the book would read, I Did It. Her Stories is a really comprehensive but accessible history of the U.S. soap, and the OJ and Marlena's possession storyline is just one of the many fascinating stories it has to offer. So what do you think? Did OJ do it? Repost and follow, and the more you'll know.